Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. It's good to see you, Cute Pie. I hope you're doing well tonight. How has your day gone? How has your day gone? Tell me about it. I hope it was good. It has been quite a day for me. So I'm happy to take this opportunity to relax and kind of zen out for a little bit, listening to some music, building some Legos, and chatting with friends. Crazy busy. I know that feeling exactly. I know that feeling. What have you guys been up to? For me, it's about work. It's about school for my kids. So it's just a lot. It's a lot, you know? So let's see. How am I going to do this? All right, there we go. Just want to be able to reach over to my tablet and zoom into where we need to zoom in to make sure that we're putting pieces in the right place. Is the by the way, Cute Pie, as always, please let me know. Let me know if the music sounds good, if it's too loud, if there's any problems with my voice. Always happy to try to correct it if there's any problems. So we're going to continue where we left off last stream. We kind of ended abruptly because I thought I had not sorted out some pieces, but it turns out that I had. I just wasn't following the instructions correctly, of course. But here we are, and we're getting ready to pick up right where we left off. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to snap these in. A little worried about how they're going to snap in. Just tolerances are a little funny over here. That seemed to go pretty well, though. I'm going to turn it on its side, kind of give you a look from the top. Looks pretty good. Pretty good. All right, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Tell me about what you've done today, Cute Pie, if you're okay with that. I mean, you don't have to, of course. Just let me know. Like I said, for me, it was all about work and kids' school. That piece is floating a little bit. Got to be careful. All right. I'm really liking how the Viper's coming together so far, though. It's looking pretty good. I like it. It's feeling pretty solid now. I'm still not gonna like go crazy with it, but I mean, just how finished, how well finished some of these parts are. You know, the underside kind of reminds me of like an F-16 fighter. It's pretty cool. Went to Walgreens. Nice. Excellent. Any plans for the weekend? I know there's a birthday coming up. We gotta talk and make plans. Yeah. Just separating these studs out, which we're going to need. Looks like we're going to stack one on top of the other and then apply it symmetrically to both sides. So for now, I'm going to stack them. And then I'm going to turn this assembly out around so you can see it more clearly out of this camera. There we go. That's a little better. And I just want to make sure I'm putting this in the right place, right? So what's happening here is this is the other side. See, I was about to make a mistake. This is actually the underside. So we're going to flip this whole thing over. Just like that. Just like that. And then we're going to put these studs right here. Right here. One goes here. And one is going to go in the same place on the other side. Does anybody know a trick for remembering port or starboard? I'm kind of curious. I think I asked this before and nobody answered. I would love to know how to remember which side is port, which side is starboard, nautical terms. Then you went to Dunkin' Donut. Oh, so yum. So yum. All right. Now we're going to continue with the underside. We're going to apply some of these crimson pieces. We're going to start finishing off some of these areas, yeah? And so we're going to drop these right on top of where we just put those studs. And that's going to give a nice little curvature to that side. I feel like that's not, oh, it's not snapping in. So there we go. That is much better. Although it's still not snapped into that stud. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn this back over. I'm going to work on it this way because I feel like it's a little more secure doing that. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. What did you have at Dunkin' Donuts? Tell me. I like to live vicariously. There we go. That's nice and snug in there now. So you can see that's nice and snug against the stud. Where's the camera? Against the stud. So that's in there well. Went shopping. You saw the realtor, came back home, and relaxed. Your flu shot, it got pushed to next week. That makes sense. That makes sense. Pumpkin. Ooh, nice. Like a pumpkin spice donut. That sounds yum. That sounds like it would be yum. There we go. That piece went in a little easier. It actually snapped in nicely. Turn this back over. Trying to be as careful as possible. Hopefully we minimize the problems with like snapping pieces off the stream. That would be a good thing. All right, continuing to work on the underside. Vanilla hot chocolate. That sounds amazing. Love it. Would you recommend all of that? The pumpkin spice donut and the vanilla hot chocolate? Would you give that a thumbs up? How many stars? Out of 5, how many stars would you give that? I feel like this is not my song. I don't think this was on my playlist. Let me go see what's up with this. That is what's playing. Don't know how it's playing because it's not on my playlist. Let's not play this. Yes, please. There we go. 5. Nice. 5 out of 5. Love it. Had enchiladas for dinner. Love that too. Enchiladas are so good. And Mom makes some great ones, huh? All right, we're going to put some clips on here. Let's use this one. Yeah, let's use these. All right. I'm going to zoom right in. So for this step, I actually am going to orient it because I want to make sure that I get this right. And what I'm trying to do in this stream is I'm trying to avoid placing the ship upside down on the surface because I think it's causing some problems in terms of how I'm applying it. So anyways, for this step, I actually need a few more parts. So I need these, and then I need like 4 of these. Mom got you a smoothie. Nice. Okay, what kind of smoothie did you get? Is it like a Jamba Juice kind of smoothie? All right, and so what we're going to be doing is we're going to applying those parts to here. So we're going to start with these. Good. Then apply clip here. Maybe. Didn't feel like it wanted to go in, but it should be fine. Famous last words, right? Pina colada. Nice. Nice. I know you do like your pina coladas, huh? They are tasty. All right. So I'm just making sure I put the clips in the right place and in the right orientation. So now we have 2 rows of studs on the side. I assume we're going to be attaching stuff to that. Maybe some of the wings. Nice. Naked Juice smoothies. Yep. I'm familiar. Very nice. And so here we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to grab a couple more clips and 4 more of those pieces. 1 more somewhere here. Always got to find that last one. Green machine. Haha, nice. Oh, there we are. Now you can see it with this camera. Lovely. Let me just scroll over to the instructions. I'm pretty sure I know how these things go, but I just want to make sure. Very nice. Did you catch Danny's stream this morning, Cute Pie? I caught some of it. I caught a good amount of it. I was lurking a lot of the time, busy with work, but caught a good amount of it, and then had meetings like back to back. It got a little crazy. My morning got a little crazy, but you know, that's how things go sometimes, right? For a little bit, nice. This is going to be a 1x4 flat top part, just like that. I assume we're going to need it on both sides. So you know what? I'm just going to pre-separate the pieces that we need. I assume we're going to need that all over again. Kaz, thanks for hosting, my friend. Welcome. So good to see you. I hope you've had a good day, Kaz. It's been a little bit of a day for me. Busy. Just oof. Yeah, right, Kaz, right? Well, I saw you hanging out in the D&D chat with a little bit of PBR. Cheers. I'm having some wine, so. Yeah, it'll definitely be nice to have it be over. I am with you on that. Cute Pie is asking, how is Icy? Just typical high school stuff, right? I mean, he's we're just having to course correct some stuff for high school, and that's just normal, right? He's just learning how to be a high schooler at this point. So he'll get there. Hey, Kaz, certainly no pressure, but I was thinking the other day, you're here quite a lot and you support the stream so much. Might you be interested in being a mod on this stream? Let me know. You can think about it if you want. Yeah, all right. And again, no pressure. And if there's times you ever, you can't attend, certainly don't stress it. It's just nice to have somebody that you trust, a friend around to help manage the stream sometimes, right? So Let me pop this back in because I messed that up. All right, let's do this. Sir Cosmoverse, or Cosmoverse, I dub thee Knight of the Channel of Wrongwald. There we are, sir. Rise, Sir Cosmoverse. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. Give me, like, after stream today, I'll also give you access to my Nightbot console. Yeah, I'll give you access to Nightbot console in case you ever want to like mess with the commands and or what have you. So. Cute Pie says, trying to decide on a name. What are you trying to decide on a name for, Cute Pie? Yeah, you know, I added a few channel point redeems. I was thinking about adding a community challenge to sing a song. Terribly. Sing a song. I know a few streamer songs. I know two or three of Danny's. I'm working on learning a couple of Abby's. And so, you know, I was thinking we might do that. I was thinking we might do that on stream if people are interested. Of course, I'm certainly open to other opinions or suggestions about what to do with those channel point redeems. You know, and I'm continuing to work on the underside. Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm not the best guitar player singer, but I'm okay, and I enjoy it. I enjoy singing privately. I've certainly never done it in front of a crowd. So. Channel point redeems, but you have to add some. Yeah. If you got a sec, you can check out mine. Oh yeah, for sure. If you have thoughts, let me know. I'm definitely open, and I will take a look at yours. I think that's kind of what prompted me, right? I think I was hanging out on your channel one time, and I was looking at all the different options available. So it'd be nice to have folks be able to use them for something fun. Looking for a baby kitten, Cute Pie. Nice. We'll see how the doggos handle it. how the kitty handles the doggos. Those are some big dogs. All right. We're just trucking along here. I was explaining, Cos, that last stream I ended a little abruptly. Just I thought I had failed to sort some pieces, but what actually happened was I failed to follow the directions step by step, and I thought I ran out of parts when I had already actually applied them onto the assembly. So that was good times. Of course, I didn't discover that until later, but it's just one of those things. Fear of building Legos, finding the last step. Yep. That happens, and you know that happened during one of my Saturn V streams. I had to go back a lot of steps, like disassemble a fair amount of what I'd built to go back and fix what I did wrong. I had offset a bunch of the parts by one stud, and I just had to like disassemble a bunch of it. Looked up today, but you can ask your doctor, see if you're allergic. Yeah, you know, dander and stuff can be an issue. There are also some hypoallergenic cats, so that is potentially an option if you're allergic. So, but yeah, it's okay. You know, I'm generally pretty patient about that kind of stuff, though. I don't mind making mistakes. I didn't rage quit on getting over it, although I still haven't gone back and finished it. I need to do that. Watching Droppy finish today was pretty awesome. That was really cool. All right. Maybe one of these streams we'll go back and continue working on getting over it. That'd be fun. Fun. All right. So what we're going to do on this step is we're going to start adding these curved pieces. They're curved like that to here, and it's going to serve to finish this side off nicely. Just got to be careful and not break stuff. Oh, say hi to Mom and Dad for me too. Tell them I miss them, and we will be talking very soon. All right. I like how the exterior of this build is so nicely finished. You know, you generally, when it's done, you're not generally going to see any Lego studs on the outside. So right now you can see the bottom of it. It's all pretty smoothly finished. There are some studs here, but I think there's going to be a cover. So all the exterior surfaces are going to be pretty smooth, which is nice. I don't know if you're an airplane guide, Cause, but I was just mentioning that the underside of this Viper kind of reminds me of like an F-16, right? So you got the intake on the bottom. So Occupy says we have to go and take the car to get cleaned. Yep. It's you know, winter's coming. It's going to start getting a little muddy right over there, right? Cute pie. All right, now we're going to continue adding those pieces to this side. There we are. It's so different hearing Danny's songs fully produced. You know, I'm so used to, you know, seeing her sing them live acoustic, and listening to them produced is so. It's really cool. This is different. There we go. There we go. Nicely finished here. Excellent. And we're going to continue working on this side. I think the next bag we're going to start working on the top of this and the canopy, which will be really cool. All right, we're going to take these interesting faceted corner type pieces. Oh, it's full of dog hair, cute pie. Yeah, well, you know, that happens, especially when they're shedding, right? They're getting that winter coat's going to come in, and, you know, they're just going to shed. And then you repeat the process in the spring as they shed their winter coat. All right. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, good command. Good command, Cause. And we can add that option. We can add that option if we ever if we ever reach our community challenge. Because I think the first song I sing might be Shipwreck. We'll see. All right, let me gather some pieces here. There's a bunch in the step. All right, one of these, a couple of these, one of these, two of these, and one of these. Oh, and a couple of corner pieces. Oh, one corner piece. We're almost done with this bag, which is the bag from the last string. And then we'll continue. All right, and then we're going to put together a little sub-assembly. I did not grab a white 1x1 plate, but that gets added here. And then we need that 2x2 plate. Very nice. And then let's see how we put everything together. So for this step, I'm going to move stuff over here. We're going to be working over here. And, oh, there's more steps. Okay, so we're going to take these flats, turn them upside down. We're going to add a corner piece here to the end. And then this 2x6. There we are. And then these wedge pieces get added here. And I think putting it together like this will help a ton. I'm just wondering if maybe I should slot in this piece first, because I think it might be easier. Yep. So I'm going to slot this piece in first, because it's going to be way easier to put that in before I put in the longer one. And that's going to snap in right there. Just going to give it a good squeeze and hopefully not break anything off. Beautiful. Okay, so still a little bit of a gap here. Can't see much. Nope. Yeah, nope. Still a little bit of a gap, so I'm going to have to squeeze that down a touch. That's better. So that's on nice and tight now. And I assume we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So let's gather all those parts. We'll need these. We'll need these. One of those. A couple of those. One of those. And a couple of these. All right. And again, black goes on the underside, and it's sandwiched between that and the 2x2. And then this part slots in right here. And there's actually a little slot where these 1x1 plates go in. And that's snapped in nicely. And then we're going to put together this other sub-assembly. Okay, yep. And there we are. Yep. I'm always nervous that I'm doing this wrong. All right. I'm excited. I'm excited about how this is, starting to take shape. Have you, hey Kaz, I know it's been Spooktober, so you've been playing spoopy games. But have you continued playing GeoGuessr? I'd like to join you or drop you one of these times when you're playing. Here we go. Right. So we're going to continue building on to the rear. And trying to like take a look at how this is going to attach. So I think when it's all done, this is going to line up like this. And so it makes sense that this 2x1 plate would be here. And it would help join some of these pieces and make sure that everything's tied together nicely. There we go. Ah, nice, nice. I've only really played a couple of times. I mean, I've watched folks play, but I've really only played a couple of times. But it's fun. I enjoy it. I don't know how well I do in, you know, some sort of against, you know, real competition, but it's fun. And the last two pieces in this bag get attached here. We're going to leave a one stud. Okay, I just popped that off. Maybe that's for the best. We're going to leave a one stud gap on the end, and it's going to be sticking out by one stud over here. There we are. And then the top of this is flush with these white angled parts, which is nice. Just going to give that a good squeeze. Check the gaps. Everything looks good. Everything looks good. So this is where we are. Let's continue with the next bag. I am excited. I don't think we're going to finish all these two bags today, but if we were to finish these two bags, we'd be done with like a good chunk of the main body. Let's go. Very nice. You know, one of the, oh, by the way, I was going to let you know, one of the commands that I added that I really like, and I added it to the channel, the other channels that I mod for, is super shout out. So it works like this, and it pulls the about me data, if there is about me data, and if there's no about me data, then it says they're awesome or something to that effect. But it kind of describes the streamer in their own words, which is kind of nice. Gives you a little more context, oftentimes. Once you have access to the Nightbot console, you can check out the verbiage if you'd like to grab it. All right, so here we are. Next bag, and we're going to start with some big pieces, a couple of 1x8 plates. And we're going to continue working on the top rear of the, only one of these, not two. I'm going to drop them on here and tie the two sections together. There we go. And then a couple of 4x6 plates, which are these guys. How would you feel about, I'm not sure how I feel about it, but how would you feel about using a mat? It doesn't necessarily have to be this green mat, but I feel like sometimes it'd be nice to get, you know, a little bit of contrast with the parts. I don't know. This is Swathe of Stars by Venus. You usually have the song right. Oh, this way. There. Venus, she's a really lovely singer from England. Angelic voice. So beautiful. Really chill. Really powerful. Let's see. So here, just trying to figure out if I'm doing this right. So I think we're going to wind up covering from here to here. That looks right. I'm going to try to support it from the bottom so I don't put too much pressure on it. Although I don't think the bottom's a real problem at the moment. But Venusworld, that's her Twitch channel. She streams 3 or 4 times a week, and often in the morning. She's in the UK, so she streams in the evening her time. And yeah, I think she kind of looks like Evangeline Lilly. I've heard other opinions like Scarlett Johansson, what have you, but you know, I mean, really, what captivated me was her amazing voice, and I mean, live she'll sing like this, and she's a great pianist. So really impressive. All right, I'm gonna grab some wedge pieces. Wedges. Here we go. Put them here. And these wedge pieces are going to help finish the bottom of this piece here. We're just going to turn it upside down, and interestingly, it looks like okay, maybe, you know what? I'm going to do that. It came off in my hand, so I'm going to take that opportunity and just put them onto the piece and then put the piece back on the assembly. My overlay takes a bit to catch up. This is obviously not Venus. There we go. So that looks just like the diagram. Now we're going to take a couple of 1x1 wedge pieces. Just got to find them. There we go. And they're going to go, again, on the underside. And they're going to go right here, right here. And again, the wedge is going to face the inside of the ship, the forward version of the forward direction of the ship, and so it's going to create this little V shape. It's going to create this little V shape here. Good. Yeah, maybe I should make that overlay bigger though, because you're right. I mean, it's not super obvious, right? Unless you're looking for it, because it's along with the mess of my desk. I used to have my overlay over here in this section where the GIFs and the pictures are, but I kind of shifted it. But that is definitely manageable. We can move it. All right, we're going to grab a couple of these 2x1 plates with a handle, the bar. All right, a couple of those. And we're going to start making a sub-assembly. I think what we're doing is we're making an assembly for the rear around the engine portion. So we're going to take a couple of these. We're going to take a 1x2 plate, and then we're going to start putting things together. So we're looking at it upside down in this orientation. The 1x2 ties them together, and then these stick up just like that. There's also different versions of the overlay that are bigger. I chose like the most minimal one. So that's also an option. I kind of like talking about the different streamers that come up on the list. So this, for example, is Alana Sterling on Twitch. She's known as Mermaid Unicorn. She is another fantastic Canadian streamer. And she also lives in Ottawa, coincidentally. She's an amazing advocate. I say she. I really should be saying they. They came out as non-binary, and their pronoun is they them. And they're an amazing streamer. Really varied types of music, genres. They play tons of different instruments, although most of the time they focus on guitar and the keyboard. But yeah, I really admire the music. And this is Juliet 4. Cute Pie, excited to see your friend tomorrow. Oh, which friend are you seeing tomorrow? If you don't mind me asking. All right, so we've gotten that assembly that it asked for in step 4. I'm going to set it aside. I'm going to start grabbing parts for the next step, which is a lot of parts. So 2 of these interesting little vent fan parts. There'll be another one here under the mess somewhere. Bryce, very nice. Well, I'm glad that you get to see your friend. Is Bryce visiting Maine as well? Or what's he doing up there? Just gathering parts. A couple of 1x4 plates. Yep. And I also have to distinguish between this interesting gunmetal color and this gray color to make sure I grab the right color. 2x4 plate. We're going to grab 4 of these clips. I teach you how to use the lawnmower tractor. Oh. Okay, well, just be sure to be careful. Just be sure to be careful. All right, there's another one of those. Oh, interesting. Lives in Waldo, Maine. Is that far? I don't know where that is. Is that how long of a drive is that from you guys? Okay, I'm gonna start grabbing other pieces. I'm still missing one of these little clips, but we'll get to it. I just want to gather pieces first. We'll need these, it's like a black lightsaber hilt. Kind of cool. We'll need a couple of these rods that are 3 studs long. We'll need some vent pieces. These vent pieces are really cool. We use them on the Saturn V. Oh, there's the other clip, by the way. It came out as I'm searching. Here's the other vent piece, and we'll need a special 2x1 part that's faceted on top. Of course, it's going to be upside down, so I'm not going to spot it. Nope, here it is. Here it is. So it's got this special faceting to finish it off, to make it interesting. All right, so we're going to make this subassembly. Again, starting upside down. going to order them before we start snapping pieces together. That. And then these fan pieces. Why would it have us? Okay, here's a B for these directions, right? So it has us start arranging them upside down. The very next step, we turn it over and there's no support. What is up with that? That's silly. Okay, in any case, let's reorder them to be right side up. And then we'll start adding these vent pieces. And I think what's going on is we're going to add them in this orientation. Yep. So that went on nicely. I'm going to do the same thing over here. And I'm just going to add the one that tried to get away. There we are. So that came together nicely. 2-hour drive. That's not bad. That's not bad. Saturday works at the lawnmower store, and he was in the Army. Wow, very cool. All right, so we're going to continue adding pieces. It'll be something like that. And then we're going to put these discs, which are normally act as little feet or scuff pads. And these go on the, again, they go on the underside. So we get to flip everything upside down. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm just going to pick it up, and then I'm going to add these 1x4s. There we go. It's a nice snap. All right, so there we go. Okay, PDF. Calm down. All right, now we're working on the top side again with the clips facing me. And we're going to add this faceted part. It is. And again, it's so different, fully produced, relative to the live version, the stream version, I should say. There we are. Come together, and then we're going to add clips in the right orientation, hopefully. Here we are. Perfect. Oh, come on, snap in there. There we go. These two pieces on the end, they still feel a little loose, wobbly. All right, then we add the rods to those clips. There we go. Slide them upwards a little bit. Yep, right about there. There we go. And the lightsaber hilts, they go with the large end facing the back, or what is the back in this diagram anyways. Okay. Same on the other side. I feel like it's not quite symmetrical, and it's going to drive me nuts if I don't fix it. I did that backwards on this side. Oh, and the whole clip came off. You know what? That's fine. I'll just reattach the whole clip the other way. If I can. Oh, man. And I did it wrong again. I put it back in exactly the way it was. There we go. All right, slide it that way a bit. All right, so here's our assembly. It's an interesting industrial looking assembly, and then we're going to add it to the little white assembly that we had by clipping it onto the bars here. And it looks like we're going to do it in this orientation. So I'm going to start by clipping it like this, and then we're going to swing it upwards. And this is what it looks like, assembled. Now we're going to take this subassembly, and we're going to put it in this orientation. Well, actually, I have the ship backwards, so it's really going to be in this orientation relative to the ship. And it's going to somehow sit in here. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong side. This is the underside of the ship that we're supposed to be looking at. There we go. And so what it's going to do is it's going to clip, the bars are going to clip onto, if I'm not mistaken, which I very well could be, the bars here are going to clip onto these hooks. And let's see if we can do that without breaking anything. Oh, that went nicely. And that sits at a nice angle here. You can see that worked out really nicely. And it's quite well finished. In the back, that looks really cool. That looks really cool. Give it another perspective. This angle. I like it. Very cool. And it's pretty well captive, so if I turn the ship right side up, it should be fine. Excellent. All right, here we're going to continue working along the rear of the back of the ship, or the top side of the back of the ship. We're going to take this 2x4 brick, gets applied upside down, right next to this large plate. Just going to give it a good shove. Grab a couple of 1x2s and a 1x8 plate. It's pretty long. One of the longer plates. And we're going to continue building around this area. So the 1x8 goes all the way across, straddles that whole area. And the 1x2s go right in front of it. There we are. Okay, I'm just going to zoom out and see if I need to read anything on the page. No. So we're going to start with these instructions. So we're going to take these 1x8 plates. It have a little T-beam on the end. Kind of interesting. So we need 2 of those. If I can find the other one, it's here somewhere. There we go. And a couple of 1x2s that also have that same T-beam. There we go. That's one. And here's the other. I have a really hard time. I don't know. It's less of a problem on camera, but I have a problem picking out black pieces on this surface. Just I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the reflections or just the low contrast, but it's kind of crazy. All right, and I'm also going to need a couple of these curved pieces. So I need one more of those here. These obviously do not attach just like that. So we're just going to kind of pretend and do that. Did I do it in the right orientation? I did not. They should be on the other side. Oh, I guess they're symmetrical, so I could have done it in that orientation. So that side's going to go like that, which is why it set it up like it did in the instructions. And finally, we're going to tie these pieces together using 1x4 plates. Find the other 1x4. There you are. And that goes there, and then attaches here. So now we have a nice, relatively solid subassembly. Excellent. And move on to step 4, which uses these really interesting contoured 4x2 bricks. They're not just wedges; they have complex curvature on these surfaces. So, kind of interesting. And those get added with the large part of the wedge facing that way and the contour facing inwards. So, and one stud on the end. So that's correct. All right. And then we're going to continue making the piece more solid, I think. So we're going to grab a pair of 1x2s and a pair of 1x3 plates. And the by 2 goes here, I think just as a filler. And then the 3 is actually going to tie all 3 of these pieces together. So that's pretty solid now. There we are. And another interesting 2x2 brick. So this has it looks like a standard 2x2 brick with a wedge cut out of it. So it's kind of a cool, interesting piece. And those get put on the back with the wedges. And they kind of round out that whole faceted area. It's kind of cool. All right, so next page, we're going to continue building on top of that with a couple of 1x8 plates. So this is a by 8, so we'll need one more of those. There you go. And that's going to go right on top here. All right. Yeah, this is part of the canopy. Very cool. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take 4 of these clear panels. It's not so apparent in the camera, but they have a fair amount of tint. So we'll take 4 of those and 2 of these. And the 2 opaque ones, these are opaque, just a regular gray color, like a light gray. And those go on the end. There we go. And then we put 2 of the clear ones right next to it. So that will look like that. Give it a good squeeze. So that's what that looks like. There we go. Same thing symmetrically on the other side. And the canopy on this is really cool because when it's done, it's gonna pop up and then slide forward. All right, so let's grab some more of these gray pieces. This time a couple of light gray 1x4s And these 1x2 plates with a wedge in the front. We'll need 4 of these. So that's 2, 3, and 4. And the wedges face outwards. The 1x4 goes in the middle, and another wedge, again, facing outwards. So it's going to look like that. Come on, wedge piece. There we are. Come together. Whoop. There we go. So we'll need a couple of more gray 1x4 parts. And we're going to stack them right on top of each other. And we're going to tie these 2 pieces together right here in front. There we are. Still pretty loosey-goosey, just because it's only that single connector tying it together. And now we're going to put a larger canopy part. Let me zoom in, get the zoom level right. So we're going to take this larger 4-wide canopy part and yet another 1x4, and this special black. I saw it earlier. Where'd you go? Oh, yep, contrast thing. This special black part, it's got a corner. It's got 4 studs in front and 2 on top. And so what that part is going to do is going to sit on top of, we should just use this sub-assembly diagram. So this black part is going to sit on top of the light gray 1x4, and then the canopy gets attached to that. And then this whole part just gets seated right here. Make sure that's attached nicely. So it's a little exposed here. You can't see that in the diagram, but you can see here it's a little exposed. Not terrible, and not terribly solid either. Hopefully we'll improve that. Okay, that's where we are. All right. We're going to add some more parts. In fact, we're going to add a couple of light gray 1x1 plates. This end. There we go. And this end is going to get filled in with some wedges, right? So we're going to take a light gray wedge and then 3 of these tinted wedges, tinted clear wedges, which are pretty cool parts. I just almost lost one. Hey, Jay, good to see you, buddy. Nice, Jay. Have you had a chance to try it yet, or is that until tomorrow? Or is that something that's waiting till tomorrow? Thank you for stopping in, buddy. Really appreciate seeing you here. It's always wonderful to see friends. Yeah. Are you trying it with regular milk, Jay? All right, let me gather some more wedges, which we're going to need for this side. Yeah, regular milk should be fine. I found that when I switched to oat milk, I was telling the story on another Discord. I became allergic to something it was a couple of years ago, and just trying to figure out what it was. I changed out regular cow's milk to oat milk, and I found that I liked it, so I kind of stuck with it. The problem with the frother was it's a little more dense, so it didn't froth very well. So I had to get a third-party whisk, if you use the Stewie pronunciation, whisk. But yeah, it's not very disruptive to the flavor. I mean, relative to, at least I find that it's not disruptive relative to, like, say, soy or almond milk. All right, this canopy is coming together. So now we're going to add the front of the canopy, and it's going to drop right in there. I try not to break this assembly because it's still pretty loosey-goosey. That is a technical Lego term, loosey-goosey. Okay, that's feeling a little better now that I put the canopy on there. Still feels a little frail though. Looks really cool. Oh, coconut milk. Yeah. See, that just happened. That happened when I mentioned coconut milk. That's the curse of coconut milk. Yeah. All right, let's try that again. Shall we? Almond milk and soy milk, and they're okay. Oh yeah. You know, I'll drink the soy milk and almond milk on their own. I just don't like them in lattes. There's something about the flavor, it just doesn't strike me as right. Okay, this time I won't mess with it too much. I won't squeeze. I'm not going to go Hulk on it. All right. Well, maybe this will help. So we're going to add some parts to finish off the studs on top. So maybe that'll help. So we're going to take that 2x2 flat. We're going to need a couple of these 1x1 flats, by 2 flat, and a couple of 1x6 flats. Yep. Oh, you tried almond milk cute pie? What do you think? What's your opinion? Like I said, on its own, it's not bad, but I just can't have it in a latte, personally. I mean, obviously, lots of people love it, but that's just not me. All right. I feel like this is going to help hold it together, but we shall see. Okay. Come on. Okay. It definitely does feel a little more solid. I'm still not going to go and squeeze it down to the bottom, the loose end here. That's feeling better. And it's definitely more finished now that there's no exposed studs. Very cool. And I have my chat right on top of the, that is not what I wanted to do. Let's undo that. Let's move my chat. Where's my chat box? Let's move that over here to the other corner. That's a little better. Stick with coffee flavoring. Coffee though, yeah, sure. I used to like flavored coffee. Oh, okay. So a little bit of a side note. This calls for a special Lego part with a pre-attached graphic, which I don't have. It didn't come with a kit, but it's on order. So we're going to come back and add it later. So I just took a regular wedge piece, and we're going to add it here. So I didn't really drink coffee much until college, and when I did start drinking, I used to like flavored coffee, like hazelnut. I used to like hazelnut a lot. Nowadays, not so much. Nowadays, it's mostly vanilla lattes. As you saw, I'd like a little bit of cinnamon in it, or just coffee with sugar. I do like it sweet. All right. And so now we've made that canopy. It feels a little more solid now down here. Now that I'm still not going to squeeze it. Now that we've put that center wedge in, and now we're going to start building the rails that it's going to slide on, which is going to be really cool. Doctor said you needed 4 servings of calcium a day. That makes sense. Makes sense. 1 by 8. So right now you're hearing Kelaska, which is a streamer that I mod for. She's a really sweet streamer, beautiful voice. She's been streaming for a while. She had more of an Instagram following, and she came over to Twitch. And she just hasn't picked up a ton of traction on Twitch, which is kind of a shame because she has a beautiful voice. And she's a lot of fun. All right, so we got the pieces. We're going to put them in kind of the right order. But obviously none of these snap to each other just yet. So we just kind of roughly put them there and figure out what we're going to do in the next step, where we're going to grab a couple of 1x3s. Yesterday I had fish for dinner. Yum, yum. I have been having, for lunch, I've been having some avocado toast with smoked salmon. Super yum. And surprisingly satisfying, right? You get that fat from the salmon, and it's yummy. All right. So obviously these 1x8s don't attach to these just yet, but at least we can put them to these parts together here. Yeah. Yeah, it was yum. There we go. You know, I never thought I'd be an avocado toast advocate, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right. And I'm making sure that I snap these in upside down, which is the orientation that it shows in the diagram. Oh yeah, I love avocado. I just never thought I'd be a proponent of avocado toast. I always thought it was, before I had it, I always thought it was some, I don't know what you would call it, preppy, hippie, breakfast. But it is tasty. I can't deny it. I don't know if it's my go-to breakfast or go-to lunch, but it's tasty. It's good. This part is not wanting to snap in. These are really interesting, by the way. Let me show this. These are interesting 1x4 bricks, and they have a slot in them. So I think this is going to be the rail that our canopy will slide on. All right, and then the third one of these is going to help attach to this 2x4, 2x8 that we have. There we are. And the rails face inside. Yesterday you had lox for breakfast. Yum. A little cream cheese, some smoked salmon. What else goes in that? Is it capers? Is that what it is? on a bagel. It's yummy bar food. If you find a bar that does it well. All right, so now I'm putting a couple of these 1x6 flats here. It's going to kind of help to finish that centerpiece off. We're going to continue building on top with some 1x2 plates and some 1x10 plates, which are quite long. The 1x2s go towards the back, so let me attach those so I don't make a mistake, like I am prone to do. Tomatoes and capers, nice. Love it. Give me 1 second. Somebody's at the front door. Let me see if I need to address that. Nah, it's just the Amazon guy. All right. Yeah, my wife checking. Yesterday had hot chocolate. You know, I like hot chocolate. I just don't have it that often. But I like it. I think it's because when I'm having something warm, I kind of, you know, like to go for that caffeine. All right, for this step, we're going to take 4 1x6 flat top plates. That's another buzz. Is that my wife getting the package? Let's find out. Yes, yes it was. All right. So we're talking about drinks. What are our favorite non-alcoholic drinks? Lot to choose from. Lot to choose from, right? So you've got coffee drinks, smoothies, Jamba Juice, coffee, of course. That works, Jay. That works. All right. So we built this assembly, and now we're going to slide the canopy into it, into the rails. So the canopy has these T-beam sections on the side. I'm going to slide into that rail, hopefully. Yeah, a little tight right now. It takes some grease to this. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this. That's probably more stable, maybe. I'm afraid to apply more pressure. Yep, it's good. I'm a flay. What's it doing here? Oh, no. Oh, so what's happening is it's on the bottom. It is kind of squeezing out of those rails and applying pressure to the front. Kind of don't want to put pressure on the center because that's just going to pop that 2x2 wedge. Coffee. So my favorite non-alcoholic drink. You know, honestly, it kind of depends on the mood. Coffee latte is definitely up there. I know I'm cheating, right? I'm not picking a drink. I guess my go-to drink. I wouldn't necessarily have a latte all the time. I think I might do. You guys are gonna laugh or think it's gross, but I like the Jamba Juice greens and ginger drink. I can pretend that it's healthy. So this is not at all sliding as nicely as I hoped it would. And I'm a little scared to push harder. Yeah, so it's gonna come right apart. You pull that out of the rail. Is it? Yep, this piece is like jammed in there. I don't know. We might have to figure out a way to. Oh, this whole thing came apart on me. That's not good. That's an F. Need to recommend an alcoholic drink. Hendrix Lunar. Lavender, simple syrup, and lemon. Oh, that sounds interesting. And what kind of liquor is it? Hendrix Lunar? That's the liquor, I assume? See, this whole thing came apart in my hands now. That's bad. All right. So this is supposed to go like that. Let's try to put it back together. For mixed drink, alcoholic, I've been enjoying old fashions. Oh, it's a gin. Very nice. I don't have gin very often. Not that I don't like it. It's just not something that I turn to often. Well, this is not going well, you guys. Okay. All right. I think we're making progress towards getting this back together. That's fine. We'll leave that off for now. I'm gonna try to put this canopy back on. It did not like being squeezed in the rails like that. All right. So we got the canopy back together. Cool. Thanks for the lurk, cuz. I'll take a look at that. Hendrix Lunar, lavender, simple syrup, and lemon. I don't think I've seen lavender simple syrup. I'll have to look for that. I've made my own simple syrup with maple syrup. So yum. Gives a little bit more of a complex flavor. Okay. So I'm gonna cheat. It's saying to slide this guy in. Oh, welcome back, QPie. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna actually pop it onto the T-beam. It's not like these slots have a T-shape to them. They're just supposed to slide into that rail. Wow, it just came apart right in my hand like that. That's not cool. This is pretty fussy. Okay. Well, first of all, let's make sure I do the correct side. So this is supposed to go up here. Okay. Let's see if I can just squeeze it into the rail. Yeah, it's not wanting to even here. You know why cause is lurking? Are we making that the mixed drink? All right, I'm gonna pop that T-beam off. Stick it in that rail. And then I'm gonna pop the whole thing back on. Just like that. That would be a great reason to go to a lurk. I could use a drink myself, in fact. I got a bit of wine here. Cheers. Let's see if I can get this whole thing to stay together while I pop it on. Nope. Yep, you go there. You pop on there. You stay there. All right. Let's see if I can get the other rail on. Yikes. This is really fussy. I'm not liking this part. Off stream, I might have to go and see about enlarging the rails a bit. All right, so I think that's what it's supposed to look like with the canopy fully forward. I'm gonna zoom in just a touch here because the perspective it's giving here is a little funky. Oh, what it's doing though, it's showing the slot. So that's what I was a little confused about. So good. I just want to like make this a little. Yep. Okay. Hopefully I didn't mess that up too much. Okay. It stayed together. Mostly. Yep. Okay. Canopy. This is somehow going to go here. Let's see what we do next. All right. So it looks like we're going to attach our two pieces here to these two spaces back here. And so what we're going to do is, I'm never going to be able to get this off once I do this. All right, here we go. All right. This feels tight. All right. And I'm going to squeeze that down in there. And the front of it is not quite on. And a part just popped off. That's okay. We can pop it back in. Okay. I guess the whole thing was not seated fully. So this is that loose wedge that's right in the middle. You know what? Yeah, let's leave that off right now. That's actually going to help me put this on. Okay, there we go. No, nope, that front of it, the front, what did I just pop off? I popped off one of the little fussy end pieces here. This is going poorly, y'all. All right. All right, so we got it seated in there. Somehow. And we're gonna put this wedge there and see if we can pop this canopy into place. I'm gonna pull it a little closer to me. I feel like this side is not wanting to snap down, and it wasn't. But there we are. All right, the whole thing is in there. Whew, that was a lot, y'all. That was a lot. That was a lot. All right, let me zoom in and show you what's going on inside the cockpit. I guess that's not zooming in, is it? Not technically. I'm going to lift it up. So inside, we have the joystick, the flight stick. You can see it's the chrome piece. That small black wedged piece that was loose will eventually have a control panel. You can, from the side, you can see, if you can get past the glare. How about I do? That's not much better, honestly. How about here? Can you see that from here? How about that? That's a little better. You can see the pilot seat. That's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. All right. And off stream, gonna have to figure out how to get this whole canopy thing to work. Because what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to pop up and then allow the canopy to slide forward, which it's not going to do right now. It's just too, the tolerances are too tight. So we'll get to it. But for now, let's continue assembling. We're going to need these white 1x1 bricks. They're basically like little Lego men feet. Oh man, you can't see them in that camera. There you go, little Lego men feet. And they're going to go right above these parts here. Upside down, of course, because we're still in that mode for attaching. And symmetrically on the other side, if I don't lose it. We are. Come on. Awesome. Very good. Beautiful. All right. And then we're going to follow up with a couple of 1x3 bricks upside down. Right here. Right behind those pieces we just applied. Let's give them a good squeeze to make sure they're on nicely. And we're going to need some 2x1 plates, 4 of them in fact. And a pair of 1x4s. And I'm going to zoom in just to make sure I apply them right. So the 1x4 will tie together those 2 pieces from the front to the 2x3. I'm going to do them both at the same time. Danny's music. Don't worry, we're not ending stream yet. I did that wrong. I'm glad I checked. This is going to mess me up though. Okay. Yeah. That part needs to snap down. I'm going to put this right in there. You know what? I'm going to pick it up because I want to make sure I get this right. Okay, that's all snapped in as it should. And we're going to drop a couple of 2x1s here. And a couple of 2x1s in the back. I broke off some pieces in the back and I hadn't even noticed. Let's go to the back and see what I did. Yep, sure enough. A couple of these, broke it off this assembly, sub-assembly. That's not right. Come on. All right, I just want to get that in there. So that's supposed to look like that. And my tablet just ran out of battery. So my instructions have disappeared. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull up the instructions here on the computer and we're going to share them. CC. Give me a moment. Just got to find them. And then we'll pop them into that same window. We can say goodbye to our mirroring software, which we don't need for the rest of tonight. All right. And while that downloads, we're going to add I thought I could have sworn we already had a layer though. Chrome capture. Yep, we did. So let's configure that. Pop that tab out. And we're going to grab the right tab, which is this guy. Maybe. Nope. Where'd you go? Sorry, I know this is not super exciting content. There we are. So that's what we wanted. And let's find where we were. We are all the way down around here. Just waiting for the page to fill in. So we are somewhere. Whoa, that's bad. Are you serious right now? Chrome's killing me. Okay. I'm pushing it too hard. Waiting. Okay. Yikes. Technology tonight. It's killing me. Let's try it a different way then. Downloads. I'm going to show in folder. Open it with something else that hopefully won't crash. Let's kill that. And we're going to add another browser source. That is not what I wanted to do. Dang it. Browser source. It wouldn't be a stream without a technology issues, right? All right. We're going to add that beautiful. Oh, that's the wrong thing. I need a window capture, not a browser source. Where's the window capture? There we go. New source. Yikes. And you know what? I only have like these pieces to go in this bag. Okay. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. I just got to find edge. That's a really big. We're gonna modify that. Okay, but that's generally what we want. And what we're going to do is we're going to modify the window size because we don't want to see that. And we'll resize it so that you can actually see what's going on. Put it roughly there, although we can resize it because you don't need to see the elevator. All right, smaller. And smaller yet. You know what? We can do that and then just modify the size on the bottom. All right, good enough for now. All right, let's see. We started today in page 102, and we made it all the way through the canopy, which is here, before things managed to shut down. All right, so this is where we were. We're going to zoom in a bit. And the reason I don't typically do this is because when this browser screen is up, you can see it's like lighting up my face. But, you know, we'll bear with it for today. All right. Next, we're going to continue with this 1x4 and drop it back here. I wonder if that's putting pressure on those parts, and that's why they popped off. All right. I'm going to go with these 4x4 plates, stack one on top of the other, and then we're going to put it here, offset by one stud. If we can squeeze it in there. I'm going to pick this up and try not to break things like I just did, I think. And then squeeze those plates on without breaking anything. There we go. So plates on. You can see offset by one stud. So looking good. We're going to add these 2x1 bricks. And they're going to go right on the plate. Like that. And lastly for this bag, we're going to add some finishing pieces to the end, to the sides rather. And so we have these cool 3x1 curved parts. See them here. And the way they're going to go is the flat piece is going to face forward. And I believe this is correct. And then two here. It feels a little weird, but it looks right, and everything's snapped in correctly. But that's the way it looks here. You can see it in the side cam like that. Yeah, everything's snapped in right. All right, I'm gonna put it on the other side here. Again, the larger part facing forward. Beautiful. All right, and then the other way around. There we are. That is going to be our progress for the day. The Canopy was an adventure, and I have a feeling we're going to need to revisit it. But it's on there for now. I guess if we don't need to open it, we don't need to worry about it, which is probably a bad way of thinking about it. But yeah, it's looking good. In the next bag, we're going to start working on the nose of the Viper. So that should be a lot of fun. We'll see a lot of this whole section finished. So yeah, let's go see if we can find someone to raid. I think Abi had been live. Give me a sec. Let me go see if she's still around. She is indeed. Why don't we take this party over to Abby's? Go say hi to our good friend. I always love to see her. She's super sweet. Her song is on my streamer list. It didn't play today, but I always enjoy spending time with her and her family. And I think most of you guys are already following, but if not, when we get there, do give her a follow. Let me start the raid. AbiCeeMusic. And here's our raid command. And we're going raiding. So copy that raid call. Come with me. Let's go say hi to Abi and chill in her stream for a bit. And I'll try to stream again on Sunday morning. Maybe we'll raid into Danny's stream. So let's we'll do it in a kind of a Euro friendly time slot. All right. Got that raid call copied. Let's head over. I'll see you over there. Thanks for stopping in. Jay, it's always so good to see you. Thanks for hanging out in chat and being patient and talking coffee with me. And we'll see you online soon. Take care.